Hello, I'm Michael Burchick, member of the Knights of Columbus, Prince George's Council 2809, and a past faithful navigator of the Archbishop Michael J. Curley Assembly. Our guests this evening are Dr. Bernard Ficarra and his wife Jean. Dr. Ficarra is a lieutenant of the Equestrian Order of the Holy Sepulchre of Jerusalem. Bernie, if I may refer to you as such, my first question is, how did the order originate, when, and where?
The concept of guardians of the tomb of our Lord commenced really in the year 99 AD, 63 years after the death of our Lord. St. James the Less, known as the Just, was Bishop of Jerusalem, and he brought together a group of devout Christians to watch over the tomb of our Lord to prevent it from vandalism. They were not known as knights because in those days the word knight was not in existence, but they were called guards of the tomb of our Lord. This idea continued down the years, and when St. Helena was seeking the cross, the true cross, she augmented the guards around the tomb, because these are all troubled times in the Holy Land and elsewhere. She called it somewhat like an association, but they didn't use that word either. But they're really guards of the tomb, because she ordained that the tomb should be guarded night and day because of the threat of destruction to the tomb of our Lord. Then when Charlemagne restored the Holy Roman Empire, he too continued the tradition of watching over the tomb of our Lord, so that in the year 800 AD, he founded what was termed the Order of the Crown of Charlemagne. This was the first instance where the title Order was used for guardians of the tomb of our Lord. In 1099, Geoffrey of Bouillon led the first crusades into Jerusalem after the crusades began under Pope Urban II. Now, after the conquest of Jerusalem, Godfrey of Bouillon continued the tradition of Charlemagne. The rules and regulations of Charlemagne were adopted by Godfrey of Bouillon. And it was he, after the conquest of Jerusalem and the preservation of the tomb, he placed his sword on the tomb and said, from this day forward, the tomb of our Lord will be protected by knights. The term knights was in usage at that time.
Very interesting.
So that he continued the bylaws and regulations of Charlemagne. But the actual date of the founding of the Order of the Holy Sepulchre was 1099, the year that Jerusalem fell into the hands of the Christians. But the actual documentation and legalization of the order occurred in 1113, when Pope Paschal II published a bull called the Bull of Approbation, in which he recognized that the Order of the Holy Sepulchre would be part of the Holy See and an ecclesiastical order, so that de facto the legal point of our order is 1113 with the publication of the Brief of Approbation.
Very good. My next question is, what is the mission of this order in modern times?
The Equestrian Order of the Holy Sepulchre of Jerusalem has one mission, and it's called our apostolate. And that is the preservation of the Christian presence in the Holy Land, which implies also that we support the orphanages, the schools, hospitals, and the University of Bethlehem. It is our mission to maintain the basilicas, the Tomb of Our Lord, the Basilica of the Nativity, all those churches that are under the protection of the Roman Catholic Church through the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem. Is our obligation to keep them in repair and also to maintain the Via Dolorosa, which I'm sad to say that station number 7 is identified in Jerusalem by a coat hanger.
Oh, really? On that note, when I was there several years ago, I was somewhat taken aback about the Via Dolorosa, how narrow the streets were, all the businesses. It's difficult to imagine exactly what it looked like at the time of our Lord. With regards to the organization, how is it organized in the USA?
In the United States of America, the Equestrian Order of the Holy Sepulchre is under the jurisdiction and command of what is called a lieutenancy. There are 9 lieutenancies in the United States of America, and each lieutenancy has a lieutenant in charge who works in conjunction with the Grand Prior, who is a bishop, an archbishop, or a cardinal. In our lieutenancy, our Grand Prior is Cardinal Hickey. Each lieutenancy has that structure. And throughout the world, there are now 44 lieutenancies. In the United States, the 9 lieutenancies have a total number of knights and ladies of approximately 8,000. Throughout the world, there are 44,000 knights and ladies.
You indicated you come under Cardinal Hickey. Are you subject to him, or you report to him?
The lieutenancy is composed of a Grand Prior, in this instance is Cardinal Hickey, and the lieutenant.
Okay.
The administration of the order is in the hands of the lieutenant. The Grand Prior works with the lieutenant, or vice versa,
right.
And is our leadership. Our leadership is found in him for anything that is spiritual. We have a wonderful, harmonious relationship with our Grand Prior, and we communicate frequently, orally, telephone, and in writing. But we cooperate for the spiritual advancement of the order.
Good. What is the worldwide composition of this order?
Worldwide, it would be proper to state that the central administration of the Equestrian Order of the Holy Sepulchre is in Rome. The Grand Master is Cardinal Giuseppe Caprio, and the Governor General is Count Ludovico Artemisio, who is a former diplomat, and they are assisted by approximately 12 vice generals. And they administer the order from Rome. And with that group is the Patriarch of Jerusalem, Archbishop Michel Saba.
Mm-hmm.
They comprise the central administrative arm of the order worldwide. Now, annually, there is what is called a consulta. The next consulta will be in May of this year. And all the lieutenants from the world gather there for discussion about the order and any subject that may be presented pertaining to the order.
Actually, I think you've almost answered my next question, which was the international national meetings. Obviously, you do hold international meetings occasionally somewhere around the world.
As of now, the consulta is always held in Rome.
Oh, it is?
Because that is where our headquarters is. We have a headquarters that is on the Via Consolazione within the Vatican City State. And our church, we have our own church, which was given to us by Pope Pius XII in 1949. It's called St. Onofrio's Church. In English, that would be St. Humphrey.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a most magnificent church which was built in 1449 and completed really in maybe 20 years later. It has a magnificent history, and among the great attributes of this church is the fact that Torquato Tasso is buried there, and he lived there and died there, and he is world famous for his masterful epic, Jerusalem Liberated.
Mm-hmm.
And the first two verses of his Jerusalem Liberata is, I sing of the captain who liberated the tomb of our Lord, and he is referring to Godfrey de Bouillon.
Every day. That's very
Godfrey
interesting.
de Bouillon sold everything he possessed at the age of 35 to lead the First Crusade. He was the Duke of Lorraine, the Marquis of Antwerp, and the Count of Metz. He sold the entire city of Metz to finance the Crusades. He pawned his castle Bouillon in order to have money for the Crusades, and he was the wealthiest member of royalty in that area, for his fiefs in the Rhineland were the richest in the world, meaning Europe.
Every day.
He sold all that to undertake the First Crusade, and his first group of men were 400 noble knights from his domains, including his brother Baldwin and his other brother Eustace. His first group of 400 men forming a regiment, and that is why our Equestrian Order of the Holy Sepulchre is considered the oldest military regiment in continuous existence in the entire world.